Alright, and welcome back to the forecast card. Not a bad day. 2-0. Utah Charlotte under. Pretty sweat free for most of the game. It got a little bit sweaty at the end, where the free throws were kind of going back and forth a little bit more than I expected. Fortunately, stays under 219. I think it finishes around like 215-ish, so pretty solid one there. And Heat end up winning that game in blowout fashion by 26, so pretty sweat free as well. As always, never going to try to force a bet and call it in NBA, especially right now with all the injuries. There are a few bets that I like, but there's too many injury concerns that I'm not going to take them. So only two games again today. Let's get into the two games that I'm betting for NBA tomorrow. All right, heading on to game number one, we have Toronto at Chicago. Now, on paper, Toronto is going to be without RJ Barrett, Greedy Dick, and Ochai. But when I was looking at the data on each of these players, they actually all have a net rating difference of being on and off the court of basically the same. Like, they seem to have not a significant impact. Obviously, you're gonna end up losing depth, but quickly Scotty Barnes, Podol, and then you're gonna have Mogbo Walter coming in. Jameson Battle's been looking really good. I think they have a pretty solid matchup here. Obviously, Chicago has played 11 games this season on back-to-backs, and they haven't necessarily been great at covering on the back-to-back. On no rest, they're 3-8 against the spread. The Raptors have one day off, where they're actually 32-12 against the spread, which is actually pretty insane number that I'm now that I'm reading it. Obviously, Raptors have already traveled. They were just in Philadelphia, so it won't be too big of a travel spot for them. This Chicago team, again, they're not a great home team for whatever reason. They're one of the worst home teams in college basketball. When they play on the road, they're a top 13 team. When they play at home, they're a top 25. Raptors play a little bit worse on the road, but it's pretty negligible. Obviously, Chicago's been playing really, really good lately, playing some pretty elite basketball. But they're still going to be without quite a few stars in this game. It's unlikely that Lonzo Ball is going to play. They'll still be without Dosunmu and Jones. So depth-wise, not great for our back-to-back. Line movement kind of went down from 6 to 5.5, which typically is a good sign for the underdog. Again, I think the Raptors are a pretty solid team, especially even without RJ. Chicago just really doesn't show up at home, especially on a back-to-back. Toronto, obviously not necessarily playing for much right now, but yeah, I think this is a pretty decent spot here to get Raptors at plus 5.5. I think they show up for this game. They're on a 4-win streak. They've been playing really, really well. They beat Washington, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Philadelphia. So they haven't beat good teams, don't get me wrong. But they're still winning games. It doesn't look like they're trying to just, sell their season like a lot of these other bad teams. Chicago hasn't looked great. It's going to be their third game in 4 days or their fourth game in 6 days. So they're definitely going to be a bit more on the tired side. Raptors have had a day off between all of their games. They just had coming off in a really tough game against OKC. I would compare OKC to Houston of college basketball. It's a team that once you play against them, especially in a back-to-back, you're typically exhausted. They play really aggressive defense, pretty fast-paced, so kind of tough to have to play a back-to-back after just having 145 points dropped on you. Now they're coming back home after being on the road on that game, so I think it's just an awkward spot for Chicago. I think Chicago may win, but I think this is going to be a one-possession game. All right, heading on to game number 2, we have the Warriors versus Memphis. Now, the only reason I can expect that this line is so big is basically because Memphis is on a back-to-back, and the Warriors have played really good on the road this year. But if you look at the actual statistics on Memphis, either playing on a back-to-back or playing on their second game of a back-to-back in 4 days, they actually have a net positive rating. So it seems like they play well when they're staying hot. And now that their entire team is basically fully healthy, they got Desmond Bane back, John Morant's back, Zach Edey is playing well. I think they match up decently well against this Warriors team. Again, very rare that Memphis are home dogs. But I think this is a phenomenal spot for them. On no rest, they're 8-5 against the spread. And with a rest advantage, Golden State Warriors are 9-10 against the spread. So they really haven't been a phenomenal covering team this year, especially on the road. I think they were honestly better at covering before Jimmy Butler joined the team. Maybe because, I guess, maybe they're being overvalued a little bit now, but Memphis still a really good home team. They're number one in their conference, playing at home, top 5 team. Golden State Warriors, the best team in their conference on the road, also number 5 team. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how these two teams match up. Obviously, the Warriors have been playing better ball, but they've also been healthier for longer. And now we're getting Memphis off of 3 losses. A tough loss to Boston on a back-to-back. Golden State Warriors, the 5th game of a road trip, they might be a little bit sloshy. I think the Grizzlies want to stop the bleeding. They've lost 6 of their last 7. They're finally fully healthy. I think they match up well here. So give me Memphis. Again, probably a 1-possession game. All right, and that's it for today. In terms of the other bets, Trailblazers, don't particularly love it. They have way too many injury concerns, and Trae Young is likely going to be playing. But that being said, Atlanta at home doesn't really play very good. But this is a spot here where Trailblazers may have like 3 or 4 starters gone, so not interested in betting it. Knicks, this was probably my closest to being a third bet. Knicks are also fully healthy, playing a really bad 76ers team. But the Knicks have been really bad at covering these big numbers. I feel like they always let shit teams stick around for way too long. They're kind of like OKC, but they don't lock in the fourth quarter. It just ends up being really, really close. And Brunson's still likely going to be out, so don't necessarily love their depth there. Suns plus 7.5. They're going to be without Durant for this game. Obviously, the Bucks are still going to be out without Dame for the rest of the season. Giannis is likely going to play. That being said, I don't know if I trust Devin Booker to solo lead a team without Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant offensively. If they can't stop Giannis, this could get pretty nasty pretty quickly. But I would lean Phoenix here, plus 7.5. Because again, Milwaukee has not looked incredible now that they've lost that outside threat in Dame. Magic, I do quite like this number. Again, it's a pretty good number, especially on a road team, for how well Orlando's been playing against a San Antonio team that's still going to be missing their 2 young stars. But yeah, they've been playing pretty good at home. Magic hasn't necessarily been great on the road, and they're still a little bit shorthanded. And on a back-to-back, I believe they're on a back-to-back. So not necessarily too interested to see. Maybe they're going to sit someone. And Nuggets, I actually quite like this line if everyone projected to play plays. But if you look at the injury report, they have 4 people. Jamal Murray, Jokic, Braun, and Aaron Gordon are all either probable or questionable. If they all play, this is a great line. Minnesota's fully healthy, but Nuggets at home have been another beast. They've been playing really, really well. I guess they actually haven't been playing that good. They haven't really put together a good stretch of wins, but they have a lot of rest before this game, 3 days. Minnesota's only going to have 1 day of rest, and they're going to be traveling from home, so up in elevation. So it's probably a Nuggets or nothing. Fuck it. I'll say it's an official bet if Jokic plays, which I'm expecting he will. I think all 4 of them probably end up playing because they do need to keep getting their wins here. That being said, I'm not really sure if they're going to risk playing Jokic, considering his injury issues he had earlier in the season. So we'll see. I'll put in a pinned comment if I end up betting that. That being said, that line's probably going to move to like minus 4.5 if all of those questionables become probable. So it's kind of a gamble if you want to bet it tonight. But I do think they end up winning the game by 6 or 7 if everyone there plays. So anyway, that's everything for today. Pretty late. I have 5 bets in college basketball, and then baseball will go up tomorrow. Really solid day. I went 4-0 in college basketball, 4-1 in baseball, and 2-0 in NBA yesterday. So maybe the weekend break is what I needed just to get my head right and not overthink stuff. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers.